Hey guys, it's Big Soprano. So, I've had people like in the past like tell me that I peaked in middle school, as in like that's like where my life, that's like the highlight of my life, middle school, aka grade 8. People have been telling me this. Well, grade 7 too, whatever. But people have been telling me this, and I'm like, dude, there's certainly better times in my life than middle school, but whatever. And let me explain why people say this. So, probably the most obvious reason why, at least to me, the most obvious reason why is because I used to be famous on Twitter, like a niche, Mario guy on Twitter, and I was like, I was like 12 or 13, and I don't know, I kind of blew up on Twitter, and I'm not trying to like, toot my own horn, but uh, it, to these people, like I was big. To like the people saying this, I was like a big guy, and I'm not just saying that. That's just how, like, that's just how they see me, and those times in middle school were probably like that. That was like my biggest following I've ever had on the internet, and it's good to see Big Sopranos like shaping up to be like that. But like, come on, the internet, really? That's the peak of my life. The being on the internet isn't like, it's not a bad thing, but like, if you just only care about like attention or stuff like that, then I don't know. I think that would make you like miserable, right? Everyone thinks like my life like amounted to this Twitter fame that I had. Like that's what everyone knows me for. Like not IRL obviously, but like how I get treated online. That's how people act like that. But obviously, you fall off. You obviously fall off. And once again, I'm not trying to like, stroke my ego or anything like that, but I fell off, and a lot of people hate me, to say the least, and it's understandable. And I feel like that's something just left in the past. It's better to leave that shit in the past, because like, anyways, that's one reason why someone would say I peaked in middle school, because like it's only like certain people that tell me this. And me talking about like my image or whatever like that, that's just to certain people. Obviously I'm not this like big shot guy on the internet. I'm just a guy. Another reason why people may say I peaked in middle school is because I was just a silly guy. Like I was just very silly. Like everything I say, everything I do, it has to be funny, at least to like two or three people, and you know that gives me life. That's like that's what gives me energy or some shit. That's how I felt in middle school. Like, um, you know, just make my friends laugh, and it's fun and all of that shit or whatever. Because you don't really have to take middle school seriously at all. And I didn't. Obviously, I never took school in general too seriously. But I was a silly guy. I had a friend group. I had my first friend group ever. So that's probably why people. Well, someone. That's why someone would say I peaked in middle school, because I've been told this before. I've been told I peaked in middle school before, and I wanted to talk about that. And yeah, I had my first ever friend group. I had more than just one friend I talked to every day, like, because like throughout elementary school it was just me and one guy. We just talk the entire lunch break, and that's literally like 5 years of my life in elementary school. But then in middle school, that's when I started to make some friends. You get what I'm saying? So basically, I was the silly guy, and I was big on Twitter. That maybe those are the factors as to why people say this. Like I was like, the ringleader when it comes to these little these guys I'm friends with. Like they were, we're all silly, but as my friend described before, I was like the ringleader of retards. So I don't actually think my life peaked in middle school, but I've been told it before, and I just think it's a pretty funny video idea.